Good morning and welcome to the virtual Greater Boston Church of Spiritualism on this lovely Sunday in May. And today we honor all of the mothers as it's Mother's Day. So let us send our blessings and our love out to all the mothers all through this service and all through this week. Please join me in our opening prayer. Infinite Spirit, beloved God, we open our hearts and minds to your presence, to your light, and to your love as we gather here together in this community in harmony. We ask that you bring blessings to all of us, especially the mothers on this plane of existence. Help them to move forward in their jobs as caring and loving their children in the best possible way. We give thanks for all the love that we feel here today, and we ask your blessing upon all those in this world who are sick, who are struggling with this virus in so many ways. And please bless and protect those who are working for the higher good, the healthcare workers, and all of those who are out in the world keeping our world going. We give thanks for their presence and their service. And we ask today that you also bring to us our loved ones so that we may know that life and love continues into eternity, that we are all eternal beings, all a part of each other. Help us to live in harmony within ourselves and with all beings, as we say amen. And now I have an inspirational poem for Mother's Day. There are angels God puts on the earth who care for us and guide us. You can feel their love and gentleness as they walk through life beside us. They do great things for us every day. They whisper in our ears. They even hold us in their hearts when we are filled with fears. They are always there to give a hug and try to make us smile. They treat us with respect and love. They treat us like their child. God blessed me with an angel I'm proud to call my own. She's been with me throughout my life, been with me as I've grown. She guided me the best she can. She taught me like no other, and I'm thankful I'm the lucky one who gets to call her mother. And that poem always touches my heart. So right now, open your hearts and send your love out to your mothers. And now as we prepare for our healing meditation, please join me in our healing prayer, which will appear on the screen. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstruction from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help, and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and the power of God. And now it's time for our healing meditation, a time where we can let go of all the struggles, all the difficulties of life, all our worries and fears, and bring ourselves into this present moment. For we know that in the present moment, the presence of God exists. That presence of God, that love and that peace is always available to us as we bring our awareness into now. So just close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, and allow yourself to relax, to focus on your breathing. Breathing in and breathing out, relaxing and letting go of the stress, the strains of life. As we breathe in slowly and breathe out, we bring that relaxation into our bodies and we begin to let go. We begin to allow that presence of pure light, pure love to flow through us. For we are never apart from our source, and that love and that light and that peace is always here. So as you breathe, just leave the past behind. Leave the future, for it has not come. And just be present in the now with your breath, focusing on that light that flows in with your breath and travels through your body, bringing healing, bringing peace, bringing calmness. Every breath in brings more and more light. And as you breathe out, just release and allow that light to fill you. You could feel it filling your lungs, strengthening them, flowing through your bloodstream, moving through every muscle as every muscle relaxes. And as this light moves through your body, feel it filling every bone, every muscle, every joint, every nerve. And feel that light going directly into every cell, awakening the light within each one, reminding every cell of their perfect state so that they may create and recreate themselves in harmony with every other cell. As you breathe, feel your body taking in that light, filling every organ and every system, strengthening that immune system. Feel that strength moving through every part of that physical body. As you feel that light traveling from the top of your head all the way down to the tip of your toes. Just allow your body to relax in that light, to take in that healing that is flowing through you, bringing to your body exactly what you need. And as you feel that light fill your body, feel your entire body ignited in light, and that light moving right out of your pores, surrounding you, creating your body in its perfect state. And as you breathe and feel that health flowing through your body, that love and that peace, choose to love your body as well, so that you may give to your body what it needs to stay strong, to build that immune system, to stay healthy in this time on earth. Give your body the rest it needs, the food it needs, the movement it needs, so that it may maintain this vibration of love that it's receiving right now from the divine. And as your body settles into that light, you allow yourself to relax. Feel that divine light flooding your mind, filling and quieting that mind with light, with love, with peace. And imagine a peaceful river flowing through your mind, carrying away all those thoughts that no longer serve you, helping you to let go of the negative thoughts, the fearful thoughts, the worry thoughts. Be present in the now and allow the thoughts of love to empower you to be who you are, to fill with strength. And allow your mind to expand and open, lifting up into that higher mind where you know you are connected to God, you are part of that infinite source. You know that you are loved beyond measure, and you know that you are spirit, an eternal spirit. And allow that knowledge to fill your mind, to move through your body, to move through every aspect of your being. And as this light fills your body and your mind, feel that unconditional love of God flowing around your emotional body, the waters of your soul. Feel that energy of pure love washing through, clearing out the pains and hurts of yesterday, clearing out all those things you no longer need, the angers, the hurts, the resentments, the bitterness, the sorrow, the grief. Allow all the negative emotions that hold you back from living and loving as who you truly are, allow them to be washed away as you are surrounded and filled with this divine unconditional love, which is who you really are. Feel it flowing into your heart as your heart opens and expands with love. And you let go of anything that has gotten in the way. Anything, any experience that has held you back from loving purely and clearly. Breathe it out, release it. And allow this divine healing light to flow through every aspect of your being, awakening you to who you really are. Experience yourself as that spirit of God that you were created to be. And feel yourself lifting higher and higher into a place of light and love and beauty. And imagine yourself now sitting in a beautiful garden filled with every kind of flower you could ever imagine and more. Every color represented in that garden. And as you sit in the center of that garden, taking in the beauty, you notice each and every flower is emanating the essence of God through its beauty. And as you sit here, you realize that you also are a flower in God's garden. You have everything you need within you to radiate your beauty, your love, your light into the world. Just as these flowers are radiating all that is within them, making this garden more beautiful, so also do you as you radiate the light and the love within you into your world. You are a flower in God's garden, and you can feel the nurturing rays of love flowing into you as it flows into those flowers, giving to you what you need, the strength, the joy, the wonder, the awe. And as you sit within this garden, you feel the Divine Mother's presence around you, wrapping you in comfort and love. You can feel that Mother's love flowing through you and around you, helping you to know that all is well, that you are safe. And you allow that comfort to reach deep within you, to know that the Mother's love is always there for you. You are never apart, for it is part of the divine. It is always around you. You can feel that Mother's love holding you in a loving embrace, helping you to know that you have within you all that you need to carry on, to move forward, to create a wonderful and beautiful new world, simply by sharing who you truly are as this magnificent flower in God's garden. Take all of that support and all of that love and continue to feel the rays of God's love shining into you and through you and from you. And from this pure place of love, let us together radiate that love and that healing light out into the world. Let us radiate the comfort of a mother's love to all beings, whether they are moving through an illness or lost in grief. Let us see this wonderful love and light surrounding our planet and flowing to every being, and see it radiating around our world, flowing out into the universe so that our entire world is filled with light. And every being, every heart, every mind, every soul is filled with the knowing that they are loved, that there is no lack of love in their lives. And as we are loved, we can share our love with others. And that is the first step in creating peace on earth. So let us take this wonderfully comforting love into our being and know that we are always loved and we have all that we need within us to rise and shine and be who we were created to be. Breathe deeply now, holding that vision of our world surrounded in light and that healing power reaching everyone. And know that our world is that vision that we hold as we create it. Take a nice deep breath and feel yourself gently coming back to the room, feeling that wonderful body filled with health and renewal, feeling the clothes upon it and the seat that you're sitting on. And as you take another nice deep breath, smile and open your eyes. And know that you have all that you need within you. And that comforting love will always be there for you. You can visit that garden anytime you wish. And if we're all back, let us read our Declaration of Principles. In spiritualism, we have no rules or regulations, no dogmas or creeds, but we do have a set of principles that help us to live our lives in the best possible way. So please read them with me as they appear on the screen. We believe in infinite spirit and that God is infinite spirit. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite spirit. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of an individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule. Whatsoever ye would that others should do unto you, do ye also unto them. We affirm the moral responsibility of the individual and that they make their own happiness or unhappiness as they obey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul here or hereafter. And we affirm the precepts of prophecy and healing contained in the Bible are divine attributes proven through mediumship. So today, as we honor all the mothers in the world, we want to honor those who brought us into the world, who loved us and cared for us, and those who taught us how to live in this world. So I ask you to think about, what did your mother teach you? And if you're a mother or have children in your life, what are you teaching the children? Because it's important to remember that we influence the children in great and amazing ways when we pay attention to what we're saying and doing. So recently, when I was an adult, I found out that the child's subconscious mind is wide open until the age of 6. So everything that we do, say, and act, the child brings that into their subconscious mind, and that affects them for their entire lives. So as we're mothers and grandmothers and mothers-in-law and all kinds of teachers who are with children, we are influencing them in our words and in our actions. So we need to also think about, what are we teaching the children? I like to take time on Mother's Day to think about what my mother taught me. She taught me many wonderful things, and I'm going to share a few of them with you. She taught me the golden rule. And it's interesting that I would find a religion that is the main principle, is to treat everyone the way you want to be treated, because that's exactly what she taught me. I can remember as a little child, and I grew up as a Catholic, and I was learning the big list of sins on all the things that I needed to be careful not to do, and I was very worried about that. And my mother said, don't worry about that. Just remember to treat everyone the way you want to be treated, and your life will be good. So be at ease. So she was a very calming and gentle force in my life. And the interesting thing about my mother and myself is that she chose her religion. She was deeply religious. She was completely committed to her religion because she chose it. And I find she understands that from the spirit side of life, as I have chosen spiritualism as my religion. And I can feel that deep connection as she did. She was totally committed and developed a deep connection to Mother Mary throughout her life, thus my name. My mother also believed and taught me in the power of prayer and how to surrender to God's will. So often we're praying for something and we still hold on to it and we don't surrender it. I've learned in my life from my mother that you have to allow God to answer that prayer in the best possible way, and often it's not what we want. And the best prayers that I have learned, that I have said throughout my life, are those that I have surrendered to the divine, to bring about the highest good, even if that's not what I am wanting for myself. And that's a big lesson for us now, isn't it? Because we need to be surrendering into creating the higher good for all. And that's a big part of what we're learning now in this time that we have separated. We're learning that we need to protect each other, don't we? And care for one another. And maybe we would like to go out, but we're not going out because it's better for the whole if we stay in. That's important. So my mother taught me that as well. She taught me how to be responsible. My mother was a very responsible woman. And she put off her wedding for many years because she took care of her mother who had had a stroke. So she put other people's needs in front of her own as well. And she was very responsible and very loving in everything that she did. These are the actions that I saw in my mother that helped me to form the life that I wanted to live. She also believed that life continued. And that sort of opened me up to this great religion. As I can remember, after my father died, and she was left with 3 children to take care of, she saw my father sitting in the chair in the living room after he died. And I remember her telling us that he said everything would be okay. And she trusted all her life that she would be okay, that he would look out for us. And well, he did. And I think he looked out for her the entire of her life. She also taught me the strength of a mother's prayer. Mother's prayers are always answered. She used to teach me that. And she used to pray every single night. She had a little book of prayers, and in it was a mother's prayer that she would say in desperate times. And I think that that was the prayer that saved my life. I saw many miracles happen in my mother's life because of her prayers. And I have used that mother's prayer myself, and the results truly have been miraculous. But I know that her prayers saved my life because I was born back in 1952 before they had all the technology they have now. I was born much too early, and I was only a little 3-pounder, smaller than a chicken you'd buy at the store. And somehow I survived, and here I am today. But I know that I was prayed into existence by my mother. And that's something that I think we all were prayed into existence, as our mothers held us in their wombs and prayed for the good health of us all and for the happy lives. And so if you think about yourself, you were prayed into existence. You're a prayer brought into the world. And how wonderful is that? Live your life as a prayer, because everything you do truly is a prayer. My mother prayed for a peaceful death, and she got it. I know that she used to say a prayer every night that she would have a peaceful death, and she had a great dedication to the Blessed Mother, to the Divine Mother. And she got the peaceful death that she wanted. She was surrounded by her children that adored her, praying her across with the rosary, which was her rosary. And I know in that moment, as I watched her take her last breath, she had a beautiful death, because I know that that Divine Mother carried her home to God. And that has always been in my heart and given me great comfort. And it's interesting because after she passed, I would, when something wonderful happened, I'd run to the phone to tell her and then get sad. But when I found the religion of spiritualism, and I realized that she still existed around me, that kind of built a whole new relationship. And I can tell you, my mother is always there. Whenever I need her, she helps me in so many ways. I feel her, I sense her, I smell her scents. And she helped me to really know that life truly continues. And when we know that, we're never apart from the comfort that our mothers can bring us. So I'd like to honor her today. And I'd like to remind you to think about all the wonderful things that your mother taught you. And sometimes, we don't really bring those into our conscious mind until we stop and we think about it. So this Mother's Day, think about your mother, your mother-in-laws, your grandmothers. Think about all the people who mothered you in your life, and think about what you taught them. And then take what they taught you that was good and give that to your children and the children that you influence in your life. I'd like to honor another woman today who did not have children of her own. And there are many people out in the world that don't have children. But that doesn't mean they don't influence the world, and not just the children, but the adults around them. This woman is Mother Teresa. She taught the whole world about compassion, about love and peace through her actions and her words. And I have a few quotes here I want to share that came from Mother Teresa, who I think was a walking saint in how she lived her life. And she used to say, peace begins with a smile. Spread your love everywhere you go, and let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. How wonderful would it be if that was a guiding thought in our lives, and if every interaction ended with something happy, and that person moves forward in a better way because they spent a moment with you. I think our greatest problem that we run into in life is that we forget. We forget who we are. We forget all these wonderful ideas. Maybe we should write them and tattoo them on our hands in every interaction. But as we move forward, let's try to leave everybody just a little bit happier because they had an encounter with us. How wonderful does that feel to you as you think about it? Think about every interaction you have with another and feeling happy as you leave them. We can do that. It's possible. In fact, it's our potential. The other thing she said was, if we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. And isn't that important to remember today? We belong to each other. We're all a part of each other. And what happens to you happens to me. What happens across the world affects me too, right? So we have to remember that we're all part of each other. We belong to one another. We're here to nurture and care for one another. And when we do that, we have peace in our hearts. When we feel that connection instead of the separation from each other, we have peace in our hearts, and we live from that place of peace. And that's what we're here to do, isn't it? Don't we all want to be peaceful within? I know I certainly do. By loving others, by feeling that connection, that brings us into a state of peace. She also said, kind words can be short and easy to speak, but their echoes are endless. Everything we say and do creates ripples that go out into the world. Imagine throwing a stone into a lake and see the ripples, how it flows out. Well, our actions and our words do the same thing. And we're a choice as to what kind of ripples we're going to make in the world. And the beauty about those ripples is they go on because we pay it forward. If we're treated kindly by someone, don't we go out and treat the next person we meet kindly? But if we're treated unkindly, don't we go home and maybe treat our families unkindly or take it out on the people we love? That's what we mostly do, isn't it? We always hurt the ones we love. So think about that. Imagine you're in the grocery store and you don't have enough money to pay that bill. And imagine that the grocery clerk is mean and ugly to you and makes you feel terrible and makes a big show about having to put the food back because you don't have enough, and how that makes you feel. And if you go out into the world, how are you going to respond to the people around you in that state? Probably going to go home and yell at your partner or the kids or whoever's there, right? Because you feel so badly. It ripples out. But imagine that you're standing in that line and you don't have enough money to pay. And the grocery clerk is kind and gentle and says, don't worry, that happens to everybody once in a while. Let's just take one or two off. Or the person behind you says, don't worry about that, I'll take care of the balance. Imagine feeling how good that makes you feel when someone was kind to you and someone was generous to you. And you go out into the world and you share that kindness and you share their generosity and they share it and they share it and they share it. That's ripples. And that's what she's meaning by the echoes that are endless in our actions and in our words. So we truly need to pay attention to what we're creating and how we're treating one another. She also said, if you can't feed 100, feed just one. And that reminds me of something that an idea that Damien came up with not too long ago. We all see people who may be homeless or begging in the street, walking with signs that they need money. And Damien came up with the idea to buy gift cards at grocery stores and just have them in your pocket. So when somebody is out there looking for a handout, needing help, hand them a gift card. You've fed that one person, haven't you? Or maybe you've fed the whole family. Because with $10, $25, you can get a whole bunch of groceries that can feed a whole family. And you've really helped that person. You've fed them. And that's all you need to do is focus on what's in front of you. Individually, we can't feed the whole world. But we can feed one. And we can do our part whenever we see there's a need. Sort of like that story, a woman walking along the beach and it's covered with starfish washed ashore. And they're all drying out in the sun. And as she walks along, she picks up one, throws it back in the water. Then she picks up another and throws it back in the water. And then some man comes along and he says, you know, you can't throw them all back. And she said, well, maybe not, but I can throw one, and that makes a difference to that one, and that one, and that one. So we help wherever we find ourselves. We help wherever we can. And the last thing I want to share with you is love cannot remain by itself. It has no meaning. Love has to be put into action, and that action is service. And aren't we here to live a life of service to humanity? We each have something wonderful within us. We each have something special to share with the world. All of us do. There's not a one of us doesn't have something that this world needs. Many years ago, Spirit showed me a world filled with holes like Swiss cheese. And I didn't understand what they were showing me, so I asked. And I said, every single person on this earth has something to deliver to the earth. And when they deliver it, they fill that hole with light. And if everyone does their part, your whole world is filled with light. And isn't that the truth? If we all do our part, we create a beautiful world together. Not one person can do it. It takes all of us. So as we're thinking about Mother Teresa today and our mothers, let us choose to do our part to create a beautiful world, because it is up to everyone, every individual on this planet to take that wonder, that beauty, that unbelievable gift you have and bring it forward and give it to the world. And the world will shine because of you. I also need to talk about the 13 Indigenous grandmothers who work really hard to help this world to move forward. They represent the native cultures from Mexico, the Mayan, New Mexico, the Apache, the Cheyenne, the Hopi. They come from Brazil and the rainforest, the Yupik in Alaska, the Lakota, Tibetan, Omayan in Africa. They've joined forces and they send prayers around the world to create a world without war and tension, a world filled with natural beauty, where everyone has equal rights and the opportunity to share nature's womb. That's where we live. They say it is time to make right changes for our families and our land, and that we create the vision in our hearts, and from there it will spread. We are all the bringers of light when we come together as one. We are all the bringers of light as we work together as one. They have come out with a message for the world for this special time that I want to share with you. As you move through these changing times, be easy on yourself and be easy on one another. You are the beginning of something new. You are learning a new way of being. You will find that you are working less in the yang modes that you are used to. You will stop working so hard in getting from point A to point B, the way you have in the past. But instead, you will spend more time experiencing yourself in the whole and your place in it. Instead of traveling to a goal out there, you will voyage deeper into yourself. Your mother's grandmother knew how to do this. Your ancestors from long ago knew how to do this. They knew the power of the feminine principle. And because you carry their DNA in your body, this wisdom and the way of being is within you. Call on it. Call it up. Invite your ancestors in. As the yang-based habits and the decaying institutions on our planet begin to crumble, look up. A breeze is stirring. Feel the sun on your wings. And aren't they calling us to soar and fly into new beginnings and to create a beautiful new world? Let us join the grandmothers and the mothers and pray for our world. Carry the vision of our world at peace within our hearts, and let it show in our actions and in our words. Let us be an example for all children of the world by living with kindness, compassion, and love. And let us honor all our mothers, and let us give thanks to them for all that they have taught us. I wish you a wonderful Mother's Day and a beautiful day of contemplation and growth. And now we will have a musical selection by Branigan Reed, who will sing Come to My Garden. And I hope you continue to feel the comfort and the love of the Divine Mother as you listen.
Clusters of crocus, purple and gold, blankets of pansies up from the
Thank you, Branigan, for that beautiful song. And thank you, Rob. It's wonderful to see you each and every week. Even though we're not there physically, we remember you every week. And thank you for your service. And now it's time for our spirit communication, that part of our service that distinguishes us from other religions. It is my job throughout this time to be a medium, and I will connect to the spirit side of life and bring you the information that they bring through. It's wonderful when I feel all of those spirit loved ones coming in, and I'm going to deliver the information, and hopefully you can recognize that. It's a little bit different working from into a camera, not knowing who's out there, but I do know that the spirit world knows who's out there and knows who'll be watching. So if you recognize the information, please take in their love and their wisdom. I always ask for them to share what they learned in their lives so that their messages are not just personal messages to one, but they're universal messages to everyone. So I encourage everyone to listen closely to the wisdom they're sharing, what they learned in their lives, because they're helping us all learn and grow. And that is a great blessing to them. That is really what brings them joy, to come in and to be able to help so many. So I'm just going to connect now and see who's with us today. It's Mother's Day, so I have a lot of mothers, and I feel Spirit saying mothers come in all shapes and sizes, so be ready. So in they come, and I feel like I want to bring, I'm trying to get them to come one at a time, but they're all crowding through the doors, so I know all the mothers are trying to reach you and want you to know that they're right there beside you and giving you that big hug. But I feel like I want to start with this lovely lady. She comes in, and I feel like I have a sweater over my shoulders with one of those little clips that holds the sweater on. So she's taken me back. I feel like this brings me into the 50s era. And I feel like she would have been a young mother in the 50s. And so I feel like she's talking to her children and her grandchildren right now. She's saying, they're out there, I can see them. But I feel like she was neat and tidy, and she comes in, and I feel like she would always have a sweater on. She always had a little chill about her. I feel like even in the summer, she always made sure she had a sweater. And I feel like it's something that she taught her kids. Never go out without a sweater. And I feel like she's very much a lady, and she would have taught her children. I'm looking at girls here. I feel like she would have had at least 2 daughters. 2 is what she's showing me. So I feel like she would have taught her girls how to live in a very ladylike way, because I feel like she's very much a secretary as she comes in. I feel like she would have been trained as a secretary, and you dress a certain way, and she could take shorthand and type, and she was very good at her job. So I feel like she may have gone to school and been certified or graduated as a secretary, and she had a pretty high-level job, and she worked for someone who would have been pretty important in the company. So I feel like she went up the level in her life, because she knew how to behave, and she knew how to be a lady, and she knew how to handle whatever showed up in life. So I feel with her, she's bringing me this sense of, I'm feeling like this nervousness in her, but it's a nervousness that got her going. So I feel like she was very nervous and very much a perfectionist in her life, but that she used the positive part of that, is what she's telling me, that even though she was nervous, it spurred her on to do a good job in everything she did. So I feel like when she looked at her life, she said, I did a good job as the secretary, and she's proud of that. It wasn't her be-all and end-all in life, though. Her children were. And she's saying she did an even better job as a mother. At least she tried to. I feel like she taught her children well how to behave, how to be a lady, how to respond to the world in a gentle way, so that I felt like she didn't like the storms of life, and she taught her children how to be calm through the storms. And I feel like that's what she's coming to talk about, that we need to stay calm in the storms of life, because then we can weather the storm. She's showing me like an ocean, and if we just stay solid in the center of the boat, we maneuver those waves pretty well. So I feel like she knew how to center herself and see with clarity what needed to happen in those storms of life, because I feel like she would have had many storms. I feel like there were times in her life that there were many difficulties. I do feel like her husband passed before her, and that she was the main breadwinner and she was the main caretaker. And so she was very busy. She had a lot of things she needed to do. But I feel like she did everything with grace. I feel narrow with her. I feel soft here, and it's sort of shoulder length as she's showing me herself in her secretary garb when she was a young mother. And she's saying she had sort of brownish hair, not too dark, but light brown hair. And I feel like she was a really lovely woman. And I feel like she grew to be a very beautiful older woman as well, because the care she took when she was young extended to when she was older. So I'm feeling her older with whitish hair, but also very coiffed. So I felt like she would have went to the beauty parlor, really take care of herself. And she took care of herself physically as well as best she could. I feel like she would have had a heart attack before she passed. And that brought about her passing. And I feel like she went quickly. She's telling me it wasn't a long illness, but I do feel like there was some recovery from the heart attack, but not a full recovery. So I feel like there were times that she did have the time to say goodbye. She did have the time to reflect on her life with her children. And I feel like she taught them many things, and she taught her grandchildren many things as well. And she feels honored by the love that you all shared with her. And she's here to say thank you, that because of how you treated her and how you loved her, she knew she did a good job. She always hoped she did, but it was at the end of her life when you all stepped up and cared for her and loved her that she really knew she did make a difference, and she helped to help you become wonderful, loving beings. And so that's what she's really grateful for, that you listened to what she taught you and you took it even beyond that. And so she's coming with so much gratitude and so much love for her daughters and her grandchildren, because she felt them all around her. I don't know that her eyes were open, but her spirit was open. And she felt everyone around her in her passing. And she's thanking everyone for the love that they shared. And I leave you with her many, many blessings. Okay, and I feel another grandmother. They're all coming in really strong. So I feel this woman is much taller than I am and kind of broad. I feel like she would have been very strong in her life and very out there in personality. I feel like she would have, whatever was on her mind, she said. And she didn't often not say what she was thinking. So she said sometimes she could have been a little more gracious with how she delivered what she was thinking, but she just sort of blurted things out, and she just says, I never could help that. It just came out. Because she said, what you see is what you got with me. And I didn't hide and I didn't hold back. And that was my personality. And there was no change in it, she said. And she kind of liked that about herself, that she didn't hide. And I feel like she's talking about what she taught her children as well. I do feel like she had boys. I have a couple of boys around her. And I think there was one daughter, but I have more boys than girls that she influenced. And I feel like she's talking about she was tough. She was tough on them because they needed her to be tough on them. She let them know what was what and that they had to toe the line. So I feel like as a grandmother and as a mother, she had her boundaries and she had her strictness that you had to toe the line. She didn't abide with nonsense, she said, and she needed her kids to follow the rules. So I feel like she would have been someone that had a lot of rules put on her when she was young. And so she put the same rules on her children and expected those same rules to go on to the grandchildren. And she said, that was kind of silly of me. And she's realizing from the higher side of life that just because she had rules or just because her parents treated her one way doesn't mean you can't change them and help them evolve into a better way. So she said all of the rules that she had to abide by in her life didn't always serve her, but she didn't see that until after she passed. And she's saying she's sorry for trying to put all of those rules on you. It feels like all the rules kind of held you down and blocked you from being the free spirits that you were and from being as creative as you could have been. But she says now that she looks back, she sees that you all had wonderful gifts within you, and a lot of that was creative. And I feel like there's, especially one of the boys has a lot of musical talent, and she's very proud of that musical talent. And she's telling me that she doesn't think she nurtured that enough because she was so focused on pushing you into business or into something that would have made a better living. So I feel like she kind of kept her blinders on to the creative sides of all of her children. But she's especially apologizing to the musician of the family who had such talent and didn't always honor that talent because of her. So she's encouraging you to encourage your children and to play with them. And that I mean music. And to encourage the musical talents that are within your children and your grandchildren, because she said she's sorry she squelched that. She did the best that she could, and she taught you many good lessons. She's saying, that was just one of the things I did, but I taught you many good things, and I kept you out of trouble, and that was important. And without her strictness, you could have gone down many different roads that you didn't go. So I feel like she's proud of her life, proud of who she was, and that her only regret is that she didn't encourage the creativity within you to go forward and really develop that to the best of your ability, she said. So as you're looking at your children, encourage them to bring forth everything they have, because you never know what's inside until you start using it, and one thing leads to another. So I feel like she's coming in with strength and with power and with so much love. She's a fierce woman, and she loved fiercely, is what she's telling me. And as I'm feeling like as you remember the fierceness of her, it will bring you joy in your heart and a lot of laughter, because she stood up for you, and that you knew. She was always in your corner, and that those were the good parts of what she taught you. So I leave you with her great love and many, many blessings, and her strength. And she says sometimes you just have to speak your mind. But she learned that you need to speak your mind a little bit more gently so that the other person is honored in what you're speaking. And that's important. And that is something she learned on the other side. So I leave you with her wonderful wisdom today. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, I feel like I have another woman coming in, and I feel like she's singing as she comes in, so I feel like she would have had a beautiful voice. I feel like she would have hummed around the house, and that kind of helped her to get through the day. I feel she's showing me herself doing housework, and I'm feeling like she didn't like it much. So if she hummed, it made things better. She wasn't as domestic as she needed to be. It didn't bring her joy, is what she's saying. She did all the chores because she needed to and because she had to. It's what was expected of her. And she's showing me that sometimes we have to do things that we don't love. Sometimes we have to go to work and earn money, and we're not madly in love with the job we're doing. But we can change our attitude about it, which is what she did with the housework. I feel like she's telling me that as you're moving through this difficult time, that we can bring about a positive attitude and we can hum along and make the best of it. And that, I feel, is her personality. She made the best of whatever life brought her. If she had to scrub the kitchen floor, she would make the best of that and make a game out of it and sing as she did it, even though it wasn't her favorite thing to do. And I feel like she tried to teach her children this as well, that you have to just take charge of you and make the best of what comes to you, what you get in life. Because sometimes you have to put in the time. And I feel like with her, she understood that you had to put in the time in the work you did in order to be promoted to the next thing and the next thing. So eventually you could get to that place you want to be. So I feel like there's a son especially she's talking to that is being very impatient with himself because he's not moving up the ladder in the way he would like to. But you can't go from the mailroom to the president of the company. You have to take the steps, she says, and be happy in where you are, because then you'll do the best job that you can. And then when you're doing a really good job, that's noticed. So don't be impatient with yourself. Just put your whole self into whatever it is you're doing, and then you'll see that you'll be moved forward. I feel like she saw that in her life, that everything is steps. So she's showing me all these stairs. And I feel like going into her house, I had to walk up a lot of stairs as well, because I feel like it's a long set of stairs, and I'm seeing her carrying groceries up those stairs, which was another thing she really didn't like either. But she's saying you have to go through the steps in life. And she's talking about how everything in life is a process. And nowadays, people want to just do things instantly, and it doesn't work that way. And so she's coming to remind you that you have to go through the steps to be a success, to get where you want to be. And you have to sometimes do the things like cleaning the house that you don't want to do because it's necessary, so you don't live in a pig pen. And I feel like she chose to not live in a pig pen. That's why she cleaned it. Not because she loved it, but because it needed to be cleaned. And I also feel like she didn't really like to cook either, but she did it, and she made the best and tried to make fun meals. And I'm feeling her making fun little sandwiches with faces. So she put joy and fun into everything that she did. Even though she didn't enjoy it, she added fun to make it better. So I feel like she's coming to remind everybody to put some fun into life, to make the most of your situation, to improve your attitude, because attitude is everything. And attitude, a good attitude will always move you forward, and a bad attitude will move you in the other direction. So I feel like she's coming in like a ray of sunshine. And I feel bluebirds and butterflies around her. And I feel like these are symbols that let you know that she's there. So know that she's around you and helping you every step of the way. And I just feel her saying, be patient, be patient. And I thank her for coming. Thank you, lovely. Lovely, lovely lady. Okay, let's see if we bring one more in. I think we have time for that. Well, there's a whole crew coming in. Okay, I have 4 women coming in together, and I feel like they're all connected in some way, whether they're sisters, sister-in-laws, or mothers and grandmothers, but I feel like there's a connection with these 4 ladies as they come in. And they all are pretty about the same height. Maybe one is a little bit taller, but none of them are very tall. They're pretty much my height or a little bit taller than me. I feel like they all had families, and during their lives they would interconnect, but not all the time. So I feel like they're talking about the other families that don't interconnect so much anymore. I feel like these people were all linked in their generation, and when their children were small, those children were linked as well. But I feel like as they grew older and had their own children, that they all sort of spread out into different areas of the country, and there's not a lot of connection anymore. And I feel like I have 2 sisters, and I have 2 other women that are sister-in-laws. So I feel like it's one family all connected. And so these are the aunts coming in with mother to a whole group of people. But I feel like there's one individual that they're really aiming at, and they're talking about how important it is to stay connected and to remember the fun you had as kids, because they're bringing me a lot of memories of playing with your cousins in the backyards, at the beach, at the playgrounds, and the merry-go-rounds. I feel like you did everything, lots of things together when you were young. And then you just sort of separated, and you forgot that love that you bonded with. You were bonded as children. You were connected as children, and you loved each other deeply. But as you got older, you went separate ways. But now that you're adults, it's time for you to come back again and to connect once again, heart to heart, and remember how much you loved each other and how much you shared, because I'm seeing that all of these kids that are now adults separated in different areas, they're all getting older, and they're all, a lot of them are sitting alone, and they're reminiscing and thinking. So it's time for you to connect. It's time for everybody to connect to all the people that you loved as children. Don't forget them. You know, once you're bonded, you're always bonded. Family's family. So they're coming in with all of this love and all of this celebration and all of this joy that you brought to each other. Without all of you together, all of your existence would have been very different. So they're coming in to just remind you to please stay connected. Call them up, send them an email, look them up on Facebook. Find those relatives, those cousins, those people you haven't seen in a long time, and get together. Share your memories. Laugh again about the good old days, because that's what they're doing up there. They're having a ball. They're dancing and laughing about all the things they did while they were on this earth plane. And they're celebrating every moment they spent together with you. So they want you to celebrate every moment you spent with them and all of your cousins, all your relatives. You know, celebrate your relations. Everybody need to think about the people that you loved and cared for in your childhood that maybe you haven't seen. Call them up. Look them up. Make that connection, because the more we connect to other people that we're family, the more we can connect beyond that biological family into the family of humanity. And that's really what it's all about. So I leave you with their wisdom and their instructions to get connected and stay connected, because that's where the love is, and that's where you'll remember who you really are. So I leave you with their love and many, many, many blessings. And now just a few announcements. Thank you. Yeah, okay. Now just a few announcements. Please continue to send your emails in if you've recognized these beautiful souls, and know that all of you has been touched by the love of Spirit today. Feel the comfort of the mothers and the grandmothers that are all around you, the aunts, they're all there. This was definitely Female Day because all of the women took the front door or the front seat in this service. So please take their love and know that it's always around you. Remember that we're all eternal, we're all connected, we're all part of each other. Send your love out to them. They do get it. And as we're about to close our service, don't forget that we have Dominic Bogue, who is not coming for a physical visit, but he is going to offer the sermon next week. So please remember to tune in next Sunday and hear a message from Dominic Bogue. And hopefully we'll see him again in October. Hopefully travel will be back to some sense of normalcy by the fall. But please subscribe to the channel, like it, send your emails in, let us know that you're enjoying the services or you're recognizing the messages. We'd love to hear from you. And if you can afford to donate to the Greater Boston Church of Spiritualism in front of me, we appreciate your generosity. We can't pass the basket as we do on Sunday because you're all safe in your homes, and that's nice and that's fine. But you can go on the website and send in a small donation. Anything is greatly appreciated. So we thank you for your generosity. And let us close our service with great thanks as we pray. Infinite Spirit, beloved God, we thank you for the love, for the peace, for the healing that we've received. We thank all the loved ones who have drawn near today to let us know that their love and their light continues, that they're always a part of our lives. We give thanks for the blessings. And as we go about our way, help us to be the light that we know that we are. Help us to share our gifts in the best possible way, to allow them to come forward so that we can all together make a beautiful world. Amen. Thank you for joining us and have a wonderful week. God bless you all and happy Mother's Day.